Juan Soto, the greedy pig of the Washington Nationals. He's only about one thing: money. He has no respect for the game, no loyalty to his teams or fans, yet he's one of the hardest hitters in the game. And what did this hard-hitting son of a gun even do? Rejected $440 million. That's what. So ask yourself, what kind of idiot rejects that kind of money? You either gotta be stupid or the greediest SOB on the whole damn planet. Well, it turns out he might have been up to something. Not long after rejecting the offer, he started his trading journey. He wanted to trade his way up in the big leagues. And where did he end up? The Yankees. Yep, those Yankees. Turns out this so-called greedy pig might have been playing chess while the rest of us were stuck playing checkers. And being that greedy, he wasn't going to sit around and let the others do the batting for him. No way. He was in the big leagues for the big bucks, and he was about to make a swing for the fences. So here's the real question. Was Juan Soto greedy, or was he a genius, hustling his way to the top while everybody else was underestimating him? To really understand Juan Soto, what drives him and what makes him great, you've got to go back to where it all started. He was born in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, a place where baseball isn't just a sport. It's a way of life. It's everything: national pride, community, and tradition, all wrapped up into one. Kids there don't dream about baseball, they breathe it. And Juan Soto, he was no different. His dad, Juan Soto Sr., was a local baseball catcher, and the love for the game ran deep in his family's veins. Baseball wasn't just a pastime for them, it was practically in their DNA from the start. Soto Sr. wanted his son to follow in his footsteps to make their shared dream a reality. But there's another side of the story. His mom, Belkis, she was the rock of the family and fiercely protective of Juan. Growing up, their neighborhood wasn't exactly the safest. While other kids were outside playing ball, Juan was often kept inside, and she was not going to take a chance on her son's safety. Now think about this. A kid like Juan, with the love of baseball his family had to be stuck inside. But what does he do? He improvises. Juan's obsession with the game meant he'd find a way to practice no matter what. He'd crumpled up pieces of paper, tape them up, and swing at them down the hallway. Day in and day out, he was relentless. That type of determination doesn't go unnoticed. It wasn't long before scouts were taking note of this young talent. By the time Juan was 16, he wasn't just a promising player. He's one of the top prospects in the Dominican Republic. Then came a life-changing moment. The Washington Nationals signed Juan Soto to a $1.5 million signing bonus. That's just not a big deal. That's a ticket to a whole new life. But even with all that talent, a promising career doesn't just happen. It takes the right people to guide you. Enter Scott Boras. If you're not familiar with the name, he's not just an agent. He's the agent. He's like a chess master in the world of baseball contracts, always 5 steps ahead. When Boras saw Juan, he didn't just see raw talent. He saw a future legend. He stepped in as Juan's agent, helping him navigate through the tricky businesses of this professional baseball. Boras made sure every decision was calculated, every opportunity was maximized. He's the kind of guy who knows how to get his players not just a seat at the table, but the best seat in the house. With Boras in his corner, Juan's career was on a trajectory for greatness. The journey began in 2016 with the Nationals Gulf Coast League team. At just 17 years old, Juan made his professional debut. Let's just say he didn't disappoint. Over 3 seasons in the minors, he absolutely tore it up, batting .362 with a 1.043 OPS. He wasn't just good, he was a star in the making, even snagging a golf course MVP award. And then in 2018, his dreams finally started to become more real as the Nationals called him up to the major leagues at just 19 years old. From the moment he stepped on the major league field, Juan was proving that he had what it took to be one of the league's biggest stars. But still, a takeaway for you. Nobody gets to the top alone, and Juan certainly had a team behind him. But don't think for 1 second he was about to go quiet. No, no, no. Enters the Soto Shuffle. It wasn't just a batting stance, it was a statement. A little shimmy, a stare down, and boom! Suddenly Soto's living rent-free in pitchers' heads. Some called it cocky, some called it disrespectful, but here's the thing, Soto didn't care. He kept shuffling, kept hitting homers, and kept making baseball pitchers just look plain old dumb. By the end of his rookie season, Soto had put up numbers that were insane for someone his age. A .292 batting average with 22 home runs while also running home with the World Series that same year. But his antics wouldn't stop there. He went on a rampage with the best pitchers in the game. Houston Astros pitcher Garrett Cole hadn't lost a game since May and was basically untouchable. But Soto, He didn't care about that. In game 1, he launched one of Cole's pitches out the park in the 4th inning. And then after that, 2 innings later, he comes back with a 2 RBI double. Cole was shook. Soto had done more damage against him than most teams combined. But Soto wasn't done. Next up, Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers in the league. Verlander was already annoyed with the Soto shuffle thing. And Soto being Soto, he just leaned to it even more. And a few pitches later, Soto sent another one out the park. The Washington Nationals went on to win the World Series. And yeah, Soto shared the MVP honors. Oh, and snagged Rookie of the Year. Because, of course he did. So what's the takeaway here? When opportunity comes, don't fold. Soto showed us what it means to be fearless and step up to the challenge on the big stage. And the confidence, it wasn't just for show. It gave him serious edge over his opponents. So what's next for Juan Soto? Oh yeah, the money. Winning the World Series title is great. But for Juan, that wasn't enough. The man needed the bag, the moolah, the cheddar cheese, baby. So let's talk numbers. How much would it take to lock down a player like Juan? Well, more than you might think. See, Juan understands some things that a lot of us struggle with. Not knowing your worth. He's not just another player that gets the job done. He's on the path to becoming one of the greatest players to ever play the game. If a team wants to keep him, well, they better pay up. That's exactly what the Nationals tried to do. They came to the table with a jaw-dropping, record-breaking offer, $440 million over 15 years. That's general wealth right there. But guess what? Juan Soto said, nah, I'm good. Why you say? It's because he felt disrespected. Yeah, it was a massive offer, but Juan knew it wasn't enough. He knew his potential and he knew what he could bring to the team and what he could bring in the long run. I mean, with Scott Boras by his side, how could he lose? He's negotiated billions of dollars in contracts. When it comes to getting players paid, well, no one does it better. Scott wasn't just focused on the money though. He saw Juan's future, a path straight to the Hall of Fame. What others would call greed, Scott and Juan, oh, they schemed. Together they created a master plan, and they weren't settling for anything less than what they believed Juan deserved. So there you have it. Know your worth. Understand your value. Don't be afraid to negotiate for the best possible deal. No one else is going to do it for you. But after rejecting a big bag, Juan's payday was still to come. The reality was the Washington Nationals were good for $440 million, but not much more. They were undergoing an ownership transition. As a result, Juan's rejection was taken for what it was, and no counteroffer was made. Perhaps it was a knock of confidence or things in his personal life, but in the San Diego Padres, his record was, well, let's just say, underwhelming. Sure, he put up decent numbers, batting .265 with 41 home runs, 125 RBIs, and 128 runs scored in only 214 games. But for a player of Juan's caliber, decent wasn't enough. And off the field, things were a mess. Rumors started flying about the tension in the clubhouse. Some say Juan wasn't getting along with the teammates. Others pointed to issues with the Padres' ownership and management. It felt like the entire organization was in chaos. For Juan, it was tough. He struggled being so far away from his family on the West Coast. The distance made it hard for them to visit, and he started to feel isolated. He made it clear San Diego wasn't a home. It was a pit stop. Eventually, the Padres decided to cut their losses. In another blockbuster trade, they sent Juan Soto to the New York Yankees. For Juan, it was a fresh start, a chance to get back to the East Coast, closer to his family and a spotlight to thrive in. So what's the takeaway here? Well, Juan played the long game. He understood success isn't about the here and now, it's about the big picture. Sometimes the right move isn't the easy move, but Juan Soto has shown us betting on yourself can pay off in ways you can't even imagine. Play the long game and don't settle for less than what you deserve. But back in New York, will Juan Soto finally get the bag he deserves? Just a few days after signing with the Yankees, something huge happened that would change Major League Baseball forever. Yep, you guessed it. Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese sensation from Oshu, Japan, took the league by storm. I mean, the guy can pitch, the guy can hit home runs. I mean, he's an absolute freak of nature. From a young age, Ohtani already showed insane athleticism. Fast forward to 2018 and Ohtani makes his anticipated jump to the major leagues, signing with the Los Angeles Angels. And what does he do? Ohtani lights up the mound with blazing fastballs and pinpoint accuracy, while at the plate, he's launching balls out the park with jaw-dropping power. In 2024, Ohtani's stats were ridiculous. He had a batting average of .310, smashed 54 home runs and drove in 130 RBIs, an absolute madness. This kind of production earned him a record-breaking, mind-blowing contract. 10 years, $700 million with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's right, $700 million. No one's ever seen anything like this in baseball history. And that's where Juan Soto comes back into play. He's been watching all this go down, training like crazy, seeing Ohtani competing for his fame. And suddenly, he has dollar signs in his eyes. And if he wasn't hungry before, our guy is starving right now. And so began the ultimate saga that would secure Juan's big payday. Juan Soto started off the season like a house on fire, hitting bombs out the park and taking home Player of the Week. On his first week with the team, by May, he had already had 8 home runs under his belt, and it's clear that he was quickly becoming the face of the franchise. I mean, he's doing the Soto shuffle all around New York City, from the Bronx to Times Square, making himself a household name. It was like the universe decided that Soto and the Yankees were a perfect fit. The fans, they were all in. They're begging the Yankees front office to hurry up and lock him down before the season ends. They see what's happening on the field and they know what they're witnessing is something special. But here's the thing, Soto knows it too. He knows if he keeps playing at this MVP caliber level, he's only going to drive up his value. He doesn't need to rush into anything. Why settle for a deal right now when he could create a full-on bidding war in the offseason? So Soto does what Soto does best, keeps dominating. The Yankees keep winning and Soto keeps hitting bombs. And the hype around them keeps getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. By this time the postseason rolls around, Soto's already one of the biggest stars in sports. His stats speaks for themselves. He's slashing an impressive .288 with 166 hits and 41 home runs, all while making huge plays on the field that leaves fans in awe. He doesn't just hit with power though, he has a complete game. You can see why he's becoming one of the most complete players in the league. Fast forward to the World Series. The Yankees made it there, but they will face an uphill battle against the defending champs, the LA Dodgers, led by no other, Shohei Ohtani, the $700 million man. This was the battle that would define Soto's career, or so he thought. In reality, the Yankees fought hard but came up short. Despite Soto's heartbreak, he doesn't slow down. He knows what he's capable of, and he's already set his sights on what's up next. He's a fan favorite. Heck, he basically owns New York at this point. From the stadium to the streets, it's clear that Soto has captured the hearts and minds of the Yankees faithful. His righteous success brought the big bucks circulating, but not everything is meant to last. The suited and booted execs of every team in America wanted a piece of Soto, so a bidding war began. The numbers rose and rose. In the end, it came down to face off between two great teams, the New York Yankees and their bitter rivals, the New York Mets. So which came with the bigger pockets? This time, it was the Mets who offered $765 million. That kind of money sets your family up for life. And if you think that's crazy, wait for it. The Mets also throw in $75 million signing bonus, guaranteed. Who in their right mind is going to turn that down? Despite everything he'd done for the Yankees, they weren't willing to match it. And despite everything the Yankees had done for him, Soto was ready to take the bag. So Soto took the decision to change the landscape of baseball forever. He signed with the Mets. Yeah, it's a no-brainer for him. Even though it's a tough pill to swallow for the Yankees fans, Soto's thinking long-term. He's getting paid now. He's putting his family in position to succeed for generations. By making his name known in New York, by playing at an MVP level, and by betting on himself, Soto made sure he'd be the one of the highest paid athletes in sports history. It was calculated, it was smart, but most importantly, it set him up for life. So, was Juan Soto greedy? The answer really depends on how you look at it. Is he out to make as much money as possible? Absolutely. But is that greedy? Not by his standards. Soto literally is one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and is sharp and calculated. He shows he knows exactly what he's doing. He's played the long game and it's paid off in a big way. So let us know what you think. Was Juan Soto a brilliant mastermind? Or was he a greedy pig? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, we're out of here.